Hello my friends and welcome. We have some of the updates from the front lines. Let's go for them, and also we have the update on the situation with the Kerch Bridge. But first of all, I may say you that Russia has some sort of the success by pushing into this area near to Liman Pershi. And let's go to the timeline. It was yesterday and it is today. Russians have reached the river Oskil over here. It is very narrow, so they may cross it without the significant issues. However, Ukraine controls the high ground in this area, so that's the big obstacle for the Russian Federation. The Ukrainian military officials confirmed that Russia got the success yesterday on this part of the front line, but Ukraine was able to repel the attack. So what Russia got is this part of the forest, that's it. Yes, those are not the good news for Ukraine, however, Russia lost many of the vehicles and army personnel. The main thing for Ukraine is to cause the losses for the Russian Federation. Sometimes we do it in defense, sometimes in offense. And finally, today the speaker of the Ukrainian army said that Ukraine took the initiative, and I hope that we're gonna take this land back and move even forward. However, the main concentration of Ukrainian assault armed forces are now on the southern part of the front line and also near to Bahamut. Let's go to Bahamut in that case, where Ukraine started the assault operation across this road that connects Sloviansk and the Bahamut city. Here Ukraine moved just a little. Let's check the timeline. Here is the result of Ukrainian attack. As for the military map, there are no more changes. However, from the information we have, Russia started the counterattack operation near to Berhivka, because Russians understand that if we take this village, we're gonna move forward to Krasnogora, cutting this important road for the Russian supplies, and basically we're gonna cut the part of the Russian-controlled region. But for today, I would say that the situation for Ukrainian army is we are assaulting from this direction, and here we're mostly in defense, unfortunately. However, Russia tries to counterattack, taking this ground back. However, for the south, the situation for Ukrainian army is much better. We are taking ground day by day. Here, there is no change for Klishivka region, but I know that our guys went on attack to Klishivka, and according to the Russian information, our guys successfully took this village. But I'm not sure, it could be the disinformation that they also spread around 5 days ago. I may admit that I was wrong, giving Ukraine 2 of the weeks taking Klishivka village after taking those hills under control. Indeed, it needs more time. Ukraine really wants to save the personnel, the soldiers, and mostly we use the artillery systems to demolish every Russian position in that area. It is a good tactics, but requires lots of the time and also ammunition. This time Ukraine got more ammunition than usual. And some of the Russian military bloggers start to complain that Ukraine uses the firewall technique that Russia used before on Ukrainian positions. I think more than half of Ukrainian artillery is the Western made, which uses the very precise ammunition and very precise itself compared to the Soviet weaponry and also Russian made weaponry. So hopefully with the next update of this military map, we're gonna see the developing of the situation with the Ukrainian counterattack or Ukrainian attack in this direction. Now let's go to the southern front lines. What we have over here is the Ukrainian advancement close to Malinivka. It was yesterday, and here we have the new update. Yes, it's not the big advancement, but still it is. As usual, it's very difficult to advance in this area because those are the open fields. Russia may use drones for surveillance to identify our convoys well ahead of their movement towards the front lines to actually fight against Russians. That is how they demolish one of the Ukrainian convoys, including many of the Bradleys and Leopard tanks. Plus, they mined all of this area, and here are also the forest lines that Russia uses as their defense lines, basically. Even though it's not the main Russian defense line, however, they moved lots of the infantry and they dig down to the ground, creating more trenches to stop Ukrainian army. But the biggest problem, again, are mines. Nevertheless, Ukraine continued to take the ground. Also, let's go to this area near to Kamenskaya, where Ukraine got this street under control yesterday. Today you can see that there is some change in this area. This is a very tricky place for Ukrainian offensive because there could be just one way of attack. Well, we may also advance from this direction, but basically it's the one sector. Russia may use this road to provide supplies for their groups. Obviously, they created lots of the checkpoints on this road, and we are jammed basically with this water storage or what was left from it. As for the Kherson region, Ukrainian forces are still in that area. They're not moving back, they're not moving forward. And Russia launches attacks on our guys. So what was the purpose of this mission? For now, unknown. Maybe it was done to create some sort of the hub area in this place and later on move more forces and try to get Aleshki under control, but it's the standstill situation from what I see for long time. Almost 1 month ago, Ukrainian forces landed on this part of the shore. Alright, now let's speak about the Kerch Bridge because it's very important. As it was reported by the Russian media, they were able to open one of the lines of one of the roads that got significant damages. But only the light vehicles may proceed, so we're not speaking about the Russian lorries that are very heavy and loaded with military munition. Russia opens this road for one way for several hours and then to other way for several hours, so only one direction could be chosen because there's the single line. The railroad is still okay, however now Russia needs to choose whether to transfer the military goods or the tourists across the Kerch Bridge, because still the single line on the road is not enough and there are lots of the traffic jams on the Russian territory as well as in Crimea. Plus, definitely many of the Russian tourists start to go to Crimea using the road from Rostov-on-Don across Mariupol, Berdyansk and all of this area. Temporarily occupied, and Russia uses the same roads for their military supplies. It is a great risk for civilians, however they still go to visit Crimea. Remember how the bridge in Genizhensk was targeted by the Storm Shadow. So if Ukraine does the same thing with a bridge using the Storm Shadow cruise missiles, it would potentially bring the chaos to the Russian supplies and the chaos in the Russian tourist transportation, let's say. There were some of the commenters saying that why am I so happy about the yesterday's Kerch Bridge attack, because there were some of the civilians, 2 people who lost their lives. They are not the Russian military and basically were at the wrong place at the wrong time. It may sound strange, but Ukraine is not the side to blame for the life loss of those civilians, because our officials warned many times through the media resources, through the internet, Russians do not go to Crimea. Ukraine also told, do not use the Kerch Bridge for your transportation. It is the legal military target that Russia uses to transport most of the goods to Crimea and to the southern part of Ukraine. The thing that Russia uses it also as the civilian bridge doesn't mean that it's the civilian infrastructure only. The bridge construction itself is illegal. It is leading to the other country, the part of which was annexed by the Russian Federation, and all of the Russians who go to Ukraine, to Crimea, are doing the illegal action. Yes, I understand that those couple of the civilian Russians do not deserve this highest penalty for their illegal action, but this is the war between 2 countries. You need to count ahead. Where are you going? Ukraine has the full right to fight for its territories, including cutting the supply lines for the Russian army. So by the time then Ukraine says, do not go to Crimea, do not go to all of those territories, it's dangerous for you, Russian officials say, no problem, please go. So who should be blamed for that unfortunate accident? Maybe you haven't noticed, but Russia said that they have already replied for the Kerch Bridge attack. Even less than usual, actually. They fired some of the Caliber rockets and many of the Shahed drones to target the port infrastructure of Odessa, and not only. As usual, their missiles and drones went into the random places, including the private sector close to Odessa. Probably this is the Caliber missile, it went into the building. Also, Russia attacked the hotel, the church, and some of the local cafe. They also targeted the port that is used for the passenger transportation. However, mainly that port is unusable. So what was the point of this airstrike of Russia? Probably they want to concentrate on Ukrainian ports, because they're out of options to stop the grain transportation from the Ukrainian ports. They're unable to target the civilian ships with the grains. It would be the catastrophe for the Russian reputation. So what they may do is to target the equipment and infrastructure of Ukrainian ports to make the handling of Ukrainian grains in those ports impossible. So I think that Ukraine needs to send more of the air defense systems to that particular region, and as you see, Russia is not very precise as usual. By the way, this is the part of the Shahid drone engine made in Ireland, as you see. I'm sure that it's not the direct transfer of those parts to Iran, but the third countries as China could have bought those items and then transferred those to Iran. And Iran sends the drones to Russia. It's the well-known fact. The United Kingdom is picking the parts of the Russian army vehicles for research and studying. Even though the Russian vehicles are quite outdated and there are no any secrets behind, but it's the first time that most of those are used in this scale of the war. So Brits will study the damages and it will help to reinforce their own armor, for example on the Challenger 2 tanks. Awesome news for the Ukrainian army from the United States of America. Soon United States will announce the new military help. It will be for $1.3 billion. So far we are out of the precise details of what there will be in this package. There was the online Ramstein meeting today. The defense ministers of allied countries agreed that Ukrainian counteroffensive action hadn't failed. Yes, the progress is less intense as it was expected before, but still Ukraine has the main potential for assault. With new weaponry, it will be possible. The Ukrainian General Syrsky said that we shouldn't wait for the fast results in offensive. It is understandable for now. The main problem, as I say to you, and also as it was said on the Ramstein meeting today, are the minefields. Alright, after all, I may admit that Ukraine uses the redesigned water scooters as the drones. Just yesterday I've told you that Russia destroyed one of them and it appears that it was the Ukrainian one. Those are basically the types of the Ukrainian water drones that could have been used to attack the Crimean Bridge, but we are not sure about it. This could be a very interesting example because from what I understood, it is some sort of the submarine. My friends, I'm gonna keep you updated on situation in Ukraine. Don't forget to press the like to this video, and also if you want to support my job, there will be some of the links in a video description just below for you to do so. Obviously, if you want, you may support me on Patreon, also on the sponsorship of this YouTube channel or on a PayPal. Thank you so much for your awesome support. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.